I haven't been doing that.
Recording?
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about today? You want to talk about your upcoming community?
We are on the community outreach, or are we on phones?
Say again?
It seems. Let me grab my headphones.
You should put those other.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. You should put your other super cool sunglasses on.
Oh, my super duper cool ones?
Yeah.
I don't know where I put them. Ooh, the hypno shades. These ones?
Yes.
Are we in the multi-dimensional space? Because I got multiple sunglasses I can wear simultaneously.
That works.
You never know what's going to come out of my mouth or what kind of images you might get.
We can roll with the multi-dimensional space.
Okay, I can roll multi-dimensionally. Are we in the multi-dimensional space?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These are my coolest sunglasses here.
I can do it.
Yes, comedy laughter. That is one of my favorite aspects of multi-dimensional healing.
I know. I love that. I want you to bring that. Yeah, I'm putting my will on you. I want you to bring that into the CLN.
Oh my gosh, not everyone likes my jokes, and if I haven't offended you yet, please let me know. I will work hard to offend you in every and any way possible so that you can learn to laugh at yourself. No one can ever laugh at you again. They can only laugh with you.
You do that. I love Dane Cook. I love his kind of humor. So, if I can roll with Dane, I could probably roll with
That is a little bit, how shall we say, PG-13 a lot of times.
I know. I think he's funny.
He is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh yeah, hypno shades. Where'd they go?
But it's not about pleasing everybody anyway. It's about doing you, and showing up as you.
I am everybody. Everybody is me. We are one. I could go into theology. I could go into, the quantum space. Being a Western boy, grown around the religion of Christianity, even Jesus Christ said, you are the body of Christ. You are the body. We are little cells going on a quantum level. We are the little microparticles within a greater universe. Mm-hmm. You look at, Resonant Harmonics, and what is above is also below. It's all a continuing vector, if you will, of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Does Resonant Harmonics have to do with also like all of those tests that they're doing about how sound can change the composition of something and levitate things and stuff like that? Is that in that same realm?
Oh, absolutely. In the yogic tradition, Om is in that same aspect of resonant harmonics sound. Even Christianity, it was
I can't hear you. You're cutting out.
The voice. Yeah, even in the context of I
can't hear you.
Let me
it's all
try. Let me try something.
Like a robot that's getting
stand up. Let me check. Okay, I have a Wi-Fi connection. Oh, I think my microphone. It's hypersensitive, so I have to put it by my eye. Is that better?
Yes, that's much better. So
because when I put it down here, when I go down here, I have this resonant tone that's but I have to go up here so you can see what I say. Up here, put the microphone up here. Ha, that's a funny. If you could only see what I say, I would write it down, but it still wouldn't have the resonance of voice.
Right. So go back and tell me a little bit more about the other The Resonant Harmonics. I brought it up to my daughter, my 11-year-old daughter, last night because they were watching a movie with these little superhero kids in it, and one of them had this crazy ability to sing at all of these different frequencies, and she would levitate things and explode stuff and all sorts of things. And I'm like, Serafina, I know this is just a movie, but there's like real studies around these kind of things. She's like, really?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the high C above C, or whatever they call it, the glass shattering high pitch.
Uh-huh.
And then like with the yogic, it's a really low tone of vibration. And on the scale of music, it's all a repetitive cycle of the 13 or 8 or 7, depending on how you analyze that. And then we can also look into other scales that aren't tied in exactly with the Western schematics of music,
Mm-hmm.
which also is a healing component. Music soothes the savage beast. It heals the mind. It brings joy and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And also the shohar, the Jewish horn,
Uh-huh.
and the walls of Jericho. These are also things, some of the studies that I do with my ancient technology. Some people say the building of the pyramids were done with the sounds. Also, I don't know if you know anything about the crystal castles in, I think it's Florida.
No, tell me about this.
Oh, it was a guy, he created some device, sound device, I believe, and basically built these monuments, these huge structures, all by himself using this device. And there's not a lot of information about it. You know, you look into Tesla technology, not Tesla motor cars, but Nikola Tesla. I hope that the word Tesla doesn't get diluted, because it's been associated with Elon Musk now in the modern days. But all these things are within the laws of nature.
Right.
You know, we look at the human physiology, and you know, even the yogic positioning is conducive to these energies, these sound energies, these vibrational energies, which assimilate with life, with nature. Yeah, I'm out here in the hills, and you hear the coyotes, you hear the birds, and it's a symphony. It's a symphony of nature. It's beautiful. It's pure consciousness in its own expression.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know sometimes I use mystical words and convoluted ideas, go roundabout the way, circle around the facts, because I believe in educement, education, and teaching. You're not showing anybody. You're just allowing them the space, if you will, to bring it out from their own self, their own understanding. Each individual has their own contextual knowledge, which they can relate to, stimulating new knowledge, new practice, and stuff like this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but the things that you talk about, actually, it's how I approach the work that I do anyway. It's when I try to explain to people kind of the whole concept of energy medicine, for example, and the energy bodies and how the energy bodies can break. I always bring it back to like simple physics, but like where you have a rock and you want to break that rock with a hammer, and you're banging on the rock with the hammer, and it's not ultimately the rock, that the hammer that breaks the rock. It's shifting the vibrational frequency of the rock that breaks it. It takes it out of its natural state of consciousness into an unnatural state, because it's forcing an interference pattern on that thing, because every single thing, on the planet has its own level of consciousness and its own natural vibrational frequency. We all vibrate at different frequencies, like according to like what we are and where we're at emotionally, physically, spiritually. And that's my simple example of like when we talk about energy bodies and how something can come in and impact that thing that then disrupts what shows up as our physical body. It's like something's come in, change the frequency of that level of what we are, and allowed something else to go in, kind of like a rogue virus in a computer, that you're unaware of, and all of a sudden you're, when you're on the net, it takes, this tab opens and then this one opens like 30 seconds later, and then it hangs for like 3 minutes, and then this one does, and it starts slowing down things, and you're like, what's going on? And then you run your virus scan, you're like, oh, there's something on my hard drive that shouldn't be there. And then you can kind of defrag, or however it works at this point, it gets rid of that viral code and rebalances the operating system so it's functioning back at its highest potential. So when we're looking at the energy bodies, the frequencies of what we are, it's something's broken that body, it's allowed an interference pattern to get in, basically like a rogue virus. When we recognize that thing, we're able to remove it, recalibrate the body, update the body with new code, and put you back online. So like, that's how I talk about things, which is similar to how you bring things around full circle too.
Oh, that's right. You have a background in neotech. I mean, technology. Did I say that word out loud, neotech? I'm not allowed to speak about that. I have a non-disclosure agreement with the Society of Neotech. But if you'd like more information, it's only $1,000 for the book. It's well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Have you heard of neotech? Oh, no. Please don't just search it online and order from someone else. Please go through my link so I can get the commission.
Oh, for sure.
This is
share the link with me. I'll check it out.
And then as far as the antenna goes, I have a singular antenna today. I may be doing a double antenna tomorrow. For comedy purposes of all things, I actually put my hair up like this so I can sleep at night and it doesn't get all tangled up. I haven't finished my morning ritual of coffee. You can see how robust I make the coffee. Mm-hmm. And this goes kind of like into the food science part too. Some of the studies that I've dove into has to do with how you feel and think, right? This whole idea of a diet, quote unquote, sometimes misleads people. Because if they're thinking this is bad, I gotta avoid sugar, then it will become bad for them because of that harmonic frequency that their mind creates, unspoken. It's an internal dialogue. And neurolinguistic programming, if you're familiar with that term, has a lot to do with that thought process. And what I found is, like, for a while there, I thought, oh, meat is bad. I can't have meat. It's bad. And I would eat meat, I'd get gas, I'd have problems. But then I decided in my mind, no, meat is just part of, an omnivore's life. As long as you're not gorging yourself on, how shall we say, gluttony, right? Then it should be fine as long as my mind says this is good for me.
Yes and no.
I've seen people go strictly vegan and wither down to nothing because in their mind, it's a forced reaction rather than this is a positive mindset. And of course, yes, there is a lot of nutritional science. So the more you understand, the more you can believe that a vegan diet is the natural, healthy way for human.
Yes, yes, what you're saying to a point, but when you get down into the clinical energy medicine and the things that impact us negatively, like body talk specifically, there's so many different belief systems. It's belief systems, right? But it's not just held in the head, it's held in the body, the blood, the bones, the organs, the water patterns, the DNA, what's been passed down generationally, and how that thing shows up in the body. So like somebody can show up with a celiac, for example, like that.
Oh, what do you have? Oh, what do you who?
Celiac disease.
I have no idea what that is. Please don't go on until I understand that phrase.
Celiac disease is a very, very, very scary disease to have. And it's like, it's an autoimmune disease, basically with wheat. And it can shut down the entire body. It's a very, very, very serious thing. And so I'm just bringing up something as serious as celiac disease in relation to food, right? And so people with celiac disease, it can kill them. It can like flat out kill them if they don't recognize, if they're not able to be diagnosed through an endoscopy. They can do genetic testing for it, but it's ultimately it's an endoscopy, and how the body's how the body's receiving.
Does that relate in any way to gluten intolerance?
Gluten intolerant. I mean, it's gluten intolerance, on a million steroids plus a whole lot of other horrible stuff. So gluten intolerance is an intolerance. It's a sensitivity. It's an allergy. Like all of these terms you have to use them loosely because they all ultimately go under the same heading when you're getting into like the quantum side of the quantum realm and how these things are recognized in the body. And so, for example, something that extreme for wheat, it's when you go through the process in body talk, it's what you do as the practitioner is you're working with the innate intelligence within the individual that you're working with. So innate intelligence is like when you cut yourself, you don't look at yourself and go, okay, you need to heal now. You need to heal. I mean, unless you have an autoimmune disease. So from people that don't have issues, when you cut yourself, your body naturally knows to make the inflammation, the right kind of cells, do the things to make the cut heal back, scab over, ultimately heal, and theoretically give you a minor scar or no scar on your body, right? Your body knows what to do. Or
yes,
like when
kind of like the intelligence of a cephalopod or octopus, rather than a large brain. A lot of their intellect, and of course science is still studying the alien cephalopod, their intelligence is throughout their body. They have intelligence in their tendrils, as it were.
Yeah. So, oops, sorry, just dropped my microphone. So yeah, so that, but that's one level of intelligence. Innate intelligence goes down to the level of consciousness. So body talk is called conscious medicine. It's quantum medicine, it's integrative health, but it is it's dealing in purely consciousness. So conscious medicine. So connecting to consciousness in the realm of how it's working, how it's basically ultimately working within our body. And so as a practitioner going in and highlighting it's like the body forgets how to heal. The body like when there's X amount of trauma that goes on, all the different kinds of trauma, the body forgets the pathways of how to go back and fix that thing. And so, very simply put, with a body talk practitioner, there's all of these, we go in basically with a flashlight and we highlight, here's the pattern of things that happened over the course of this lifetime, maybe connected with the mother and the father and the grandmother, 6 generations back, that has brought you to where you are today, and the different stories and belief systems that went on in life. And so for wheat, for example, like this is a made up story in this regard. For somebody that has serious celiac disease, it could go back to, multiple generations, to somebody who was a farmer whose husband got decapitated in the middle of the field while harvesting their wheat. And it so traumatized the wife that she got married later on in life, but from that trauma that was held around that husband getting decapitated in the field over wheat, for these rogue people came through, and she had a baby later on, and this trauma is passed down generationally to the person who ultimately shows up as celiac disease. But what it is, it's a trauma that happened so long ago that has been unprocessed in consciousness and DNA and water.
That makes so much sense to me. A recent article I was reading, related to, how humanity has learned how to clone a complete body from a cell, or even, at the gestation and creation, where it's a single cell that creates the whole body. When the egg and the sperm cell unite, it creates that human. And all those memories are coded within the dinucleic acid, or DNA, which creates that body. So that makes perfect sense to me, being who I am and how I like to look at the diversity of knowledge within the human being, and humanity as a whole. It makes perfect sense how those historic traumas can, in fact, program the next generation. That's very interesting, and that's kind of when we get into quantum language and the depth of meaning, or the specificness of meaning through dialogue and or written word. I do digress, because a lot of what we understand is through language.
Mm-hmm.
Yet there's an innate knowledge within humanity that I believe through body talk can be consciously accessed. We can consciously access these subconscious and these deeper programmings that are within our human existence.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I mean, I as a recipient of body talk from my practitioner with Elza, who you have met, through the community, the profound work that I experienced with her and what was uncovered, brought up, has changed my entire, not even just belief system, but it's knowledge. And it's not even just cerebral knowledge of how things work with what we've had, where we've gone with my journey of the disease state of Lyme disease and the mental illness and the stuff that was in conjunction with that I suffered with for so long. And the work that we did together over that year and a half, and there's still so much more work to do, but it unpacked so much of what was wrong with me that is truly why I'm here now today, alive, for one thing, not on drugs, fully functional, building this community, starting my company, like all of this, like showing up in the world again. Because I've learned more about my family history, which I never knew, like on my dad's side. I never knew anything about my history on my dad's side. I'm half Ashkenazi Jew, and life began and ended basically when I was born. There was next to no other information I was ever allowed to know and understand. And through body talk, through going through this generational trauma that, okay, it's not even body talk. The crazy thing is that before I even started with Elza, I met 2-3 other practitioners who deal in different levels of consciousness. Like one person who's a medium, who's a friend of mine, who I was not somebody to ever like want to even go there with a medium. Like that shit freaks me out, dude. But then stuff started coming up for her and it was direct information from my dad who had passed. And then some other information came up from this other practitioner, some other information came up from this other practitioner, all having to do with my Lyme disease was going to come back and probably take me out if I wasn't able to heal generationally through my dad's side, my family lineage. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, I don't know what to do with this information that you're giving me, until I started working with Elza and these things started coming up about my history through my dad and about the lineage of my family and the Holocaust and about all of these different family members and families and children who were impacted when the Germans came through, I think, I don't remember the exact city right now, but they came through, and one of these things that was going on was a child that was hiding in the basement, and she, in this imprint on me, was that she'd been murdered. And there's this frequency, this resonance that had been carrying all this time of this murder trauma. But going back into her story, she wasn't actually murdered. She was in the basement. And when the bomb dropped, it shot bricks out of the wall, which killed her from that pressure from the explosion. And working with the trauma in me that my body mind was holding on to, we first had to go back to the actual individual and work with them to heal that person's energetic blueprint of what they are, so that it can then heal forward in me. And then there was, like, with the soul detective work that came up, there was very specific gas chamber where, like, in my own lineage with this other person, we were there, and this thing, this, like, there's all this crazy stuff that I've had to learn, and just going like we've gone farther back than that. And it's not even like by intention of, oh, here we're going to do any past life stuff. It's when she's going through all these complex systems of things that are impacting me, the way that body clock is designed with these super complex protocols. It's never practitioner agenda driven. It's uncovered so much information about my past. It's uncovered information about my son who, when he got into kindergarten, he started having, so he went to a Waldorf school, and they would spend the majority of their time outdoors. Waldorf, Rudolf Steiner, like in tandem with the seasons, all of that. And after the first few, it was like around late February, early March, he came home and he had a rash over his entire face, his ears, everything. And like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So at first we thought it was sunburn. And this started, my son's 13 and a half now. It started this journey of trying to figure out what was wrong with my son, because he had like, most simply put, a sun allergy. Like, we wound up at Children's Hospital. He was tested for lupus, like everything possible to figure out what was wrong, and nothing would come up. We did all sorts of Chinese medicine and quantum healing and resonance testing. And it wasn't until working with Elsa, because she does work with my kids too, that for him, it goes back to a period of time, not in this life, but somehow in his lineage, he was burned, like burned, like killed, burned. And so the thing that shows up today, there's so many layers to even get to that point in consciousness to be able to uncover that, right? There's so many sessions we've had with him, with kind of constellation work and such, to finally be able to get there, that this inability to be outside from late February, early March through fall. Like, I still haven't figured out the seasonal thing. It's a purely seasonal thing where he gets blisters all over his body. Like, it's horrible. It goes back to a lineage of dying from the fire. And that trauma has been held in the body mind of him, of our constellation, all these years. Like, so this stuff is profound, and it's crazy. It's not crazy. It's just, it's profound, and it makes so much sense. Like, we're talking, like, you're hearing about it from a theoretical side, but going through it and having these things uncovered, especially when it starts showing up in tandem with the things that are coming up for me, and it starts making this big picture of like where we came from. It's like the impact on what we are and who we are as individuals is profound, but even the impact on society at large, it speaks so much of why we are where we are, the things that are wrong, like in the things that are wrong, the things that are right. But really, it's easier to see the things that are wrong. They talk about like humanity's core traumas and things like that. Like, that's a thing. That's a real thing. In the Jewish line, they're one of the populations with the highest autoimmune disease. Like, when women get pregnant, there's an autoimmune disease that we're all, well, if we come from a certain lineage, we have to be tested for this genetic pattern, whatever, for this potential disease that comes down from the Jewish lineage. But healers who work in breath with people who come from that Jewish lineage, it is, and in the medical system, if they track it, they're one of the highest populations with autoimmune diseases, because autoimmune diseases ultimately come back from severe trauma. So you meet somebody that has one autoimmune disease, there's been some significant something that's happened that their body's not been able to process. But when you meet somebody with multiple autoimmune diseases, that is layer and layer and layer and layer and layer of trauma, whether in this life, whether their brother was murdered, whether there was something that they come from a lineage of war and devastation and being conquered. Like, people with autoimmune diseases come from sexual abuse, severe mental abuse, war, poverty, like physical abuse. It's abuse and trauma. Like, that is the underpinning for all autoimmune diseases, and then how it ultimately shows up in the body. And then just kind of population wise, like I was saying, in consciousness, the Jewish population has been devastated for thousands and thousands of years because of multiple times of genocide to their populations. And it shows up in today's world with where they're at now.
Very, very interesting, Pallas. I've been told I'm from the 13th tribe. I don't know if you know anything about the history of the Abrahamic tradition.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the 13th.
I'm half Ashkenazi, but I did not grow up Jewish.
So the 13th tribe, from my understanding of, how shall we say, mythology, is the lost tribe of Israel.
Really?
Now my genetics, as far as my grandmother watched her parents' demise through the Holocaust. I don't even know if she's Jewish. She was just taken over in what my dad always jokes, oh yeah, we're Black Russian, whatnot. So, you know, that ties into my comedy, you know, with my Russian accent and all these things that I can channel the great Rasputin for my teaching. And so this is very interesting to me because, you know, I think that if we're from the same tribe of Abraham, even though I may be part of the lost tribe, that makes sense to me because I have consciously processed some of these traumas based on that knowledge that I have of my family, you know, and not that we were even, you know, when my auntie told me about it, it was like she's like, I can't even tell you about this stuff. It was like some taboo for her to even say, hey, yeah, little Aaron, we're Jewish, ooh! You know, or, you know, even if we are not Jewish, our family was decimated in World War II when Hitler invaded Russia, Ruskies, and now America, you know, what's your lineage, Aaron? Oh, I'm part Russian, bro. Deal with it. I'm America.
Generation Russian. I've determined.
America. Freedom.
What generation Russian are you? I've learned through ancestry. I'm 4th generation.
Like I said, my grandmother watched her parents' demise during World War II. Mm-hmm. And my family was excommunicated on the royalty side, on the political rich people side, if you will. I'm a black sheep. He chose love over, you know, conforming to his family law, mm-hmm. which, you know, brought him into exile, away from that political influence, away from that military influence. You look up my name, Riggs. It goes way back. It goes to a lot of different lineage. And then on my other grandma's side, of course, I'm French and Apache. So I have this conflict of, we surrender, viva la revolution, and I'm an Apache. I ain't never going to give up the fight.
I'm Cherokee. I'm on the Cherokee rolls.
Yeah, there is no roles for Apache. They tried to squash that out of all history. And yet there are many of us that are part of that tradition of, you know, no, you ain't going to come around here and tell me what to do. I'd rather fight and die than conform to your non-natural laws, conform to your greed and antithesis of unity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going way too deep in the personal life of Aaron. I feel like there's a need for a comedy break right now. I feel my ancestor, the great Rasputin, has told me to tell some information from the past, to tell the information from the free side of Russia, anti-communists, freedom, yet at the same time, community and social behavior, non-socialist, but having social outreach from the kings or the wealthy. And, you know, I look at today's society and the illnesses of there for the healing of the world. You know, when we got a Jeff Bezos with so many millions of dollars, all you got to do is take half your money, bro. Take half your money and start feeding the kids in Africa, start feeding the kids on the street of America, start giving the homeless people a place to live so they can start building a foundation of life. Nope, I want to have my billions of dollars. The Googleplex. Oh my gosh, those greedy bastards. Sorry for cussing on your thing, but damn, how much damn money do you need? How much control do you need to manipulate the people on Facebook through social media and psychology? Whoa, Rasputin has spoken. I hope you got a laugh out of that segment, but it's deep, and that's what comedy kind of is. It's a hypnotic effect to where we're taking you out of the consciousness stream and doing a reset. Just like when a hypnotist touches you or snaps his fingers, it blocks that stream and it resets it. Boom, whole new paradigm. Boom, boom, which is the oscillation of the vibration of our consciousness, our natural law of being conscious.
Yep. I mean, for people, what time is it? It's 9:43. We're going to have to end this in just a minute because I have another meeting coming up. But was it you I was talking to? I can't remember where.
I hear everything, for I am Rasputin. I have seen all life from beginning to end and all in betweens as I access the Akashic records.
I love that. But yeah, it's like, oh my God, I forgot what I was going to say. It's, I totally just lost my train of thought, but it's, what were we saying? It'll come back around later.
It related to the community healing of our Earth family.
It did.
And the megalomaniacs and the greed of the wealthy Googleplexes, and that led into my Rasputin effect, the comedy reset, and the hypnosis. So I don't know if that sparks your memory.
It's just, I mean, but what, your comedy, what I was going to say, yes, is that for people, it's like, it seems like the majority of people won't accept something that's handed to them. Here is a growing, seed that's a corn plant. This is a corn plant. Take it. That's not a corn plant. That's a cat. No, this is a corn plant. No, it's a cat.
Oh my gosh, that sparked a story.
So it's like things have to be hidden in plain sight for people to see the truth of something. They
absolutely.
A
friend of mine asked me the same question. How come people don't believe the truth when it's presented to them? And we had this long conversation of why I charge to talk to people. Is because they won't believe me if I just give them the truth for free. They have to go through the challenge of searching. And this is where the seekers, the tribe of, Mandalorians, if you will, the hunter, becomes, clear in my mind in the Star Wars saga, because they will continually hunt. They realize, I do not know. Even the yogis. I realized I know nothing. So I search. I'm a seeker. I'm a seeker of truth. Yeah. And that's why I bring it into the Mandalorian, because all the new age kids are like Star Wars. And it's like, why would someone become a bounty hunter of all things? Why would a Mandalorian take the Jedi, bring the child of their sworn enemy Jedis and bring that back to them, the most powerful mitochondrion or whatever the Star Wars term is, bring it to them in the blood, which is what the Empire was extracting from the child so that they could make their clones. Oh man, so much depth into that series.
Yep. I know. We just finished it. Moving on to Boba Fett next
there's a Boba Fett series?
It's coming next. I think it's next December. At when the Mandalorian ended, they move into following.
Excellent. Now, I also have a storyline that I've been developing over the years. I call it the Seath Wookiee.
Really?
Yes, and there's a little joke behind it. Why would a Wookiee become a Seath?
Why?
They're the only ones strong enough to mine the spice. And life, it's all about the spice of life, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. See, this is the stuff you should, I would love for you to make a topic or a tribe, or I mean a movement or something
No.
around this stuff, and share it and just go live and record your
Co-creator,
videos.
co-creator, co-creator. This is the key. This is like why I've been so stagnant on the CLN Creators Guide. I feel like I haven't had enough feedback. I mean, you've given me some feedback and I'll go through, but it's about that co-creative process, that togetherness. We're creating a new paradigm, a new family, and a new interaction. And it is that's an intellectual stimulation. The teacher becomes the student becomes the teacher through that interaction of personal growth and group growth, and that creates an interconnected on that transdimensional ESP level, to where I just happened to be here and no one was here for the quantum healing show, and so I showed up.
Yep.
My antenna was on and it said deet, 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 deet. Oh, check CLN and something's going on. Maybe it was in my subconscious mind, because I did say maybe I might show up.
Yep. I know, I agree with you. I am somebody who I thrive with co-creation and collaboration and team experiences. I don't enjoy doing things all by myself. I mean, I don't mean that in like I'm not a leader. It means I love learning and bouncing.
You can't lead. You can only lead yourself.
Right. Exactly.
And then the followers come, and that makes leading more enjoyable for the leader.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I always say, I don't lead, I lead by following. And basically as a leader, you have to follow your followers to understand how to lead them.
Yeah.
It's a paradox. It's a simple, is within the, within an enigmatic simplicity where the paradox is resolved. An enigmatic is, how can you explain it? But simplicity is so simple. And a paradox, how might a paradox be resolved? Everyone talks about the laws of the universe. Oh, law of manifestation, law of polarity. Nobody talks about the law of paradox resolved, which is why I have come as Rasputin. I'm just Aaron. I'm just a guy with cool sunglasses and a nice beard. And a cool shirt. Oh, check it out.
Oh, I love it. That's cute. I love it. That's
and this
cute.
was actually donated to me. And I don't very, very often find extra large t-shirts that actually fit my size and my style. And I just love the shirt. And Pallas, this shirt has a hand-drawn Merkaba on the back. Yes. So it's like, oh yeah, this is mine. I'm allowed to wear this one. It's got the mark of David.
That's cool. See, you have all sorts of fun stuff.
Oh, I'm so paradoxical. Everything makes no sense to me at all. I hardly understand a thing at all. But I don't mind conversating with people, because that's enjoyable, and people are more important than anything I can describe on this temporal level.
Yeah, I think for me, like these kind of conversations and working in consciousness and the kind of work that we do and where you spend your time reminds me a lot of, oh shoot, I really have to go in a second. It reminds me a lot of time that I spent with a friend of mine that was Hindu. And years ago, we went for an entire weekend to Austin, and we spent the weekend at a Hindu ashram. And, and we were learning about, the different Hindu gods and whatnot, and Krishna specifically. And that in Hinduism, when it comes to Krishna and the connection that you have with Krishna, it's when you gaze into Krishna's eyes, you fall into love, you fall into timelessness, you fall into the reflections of everything that's ever been, like all possibilities. It really goes, falling into Krishna falls into the whole quantum theory about things, right? And you lose yourself in Krishna. And so it kind of coming back from that, it kind of mirrors to me how we connect and talk about these things and we can kind of go down these rabbit holes and mirror and see reflections and have our experiences, which all have meaning and profound meaning, but are still reflections of other things. So I don't know. It was cool. Yeah, so you take those off and then it'll be like falling into Aaron's eyes. It's Krishna.
Yeah, we talk about Christ consciousness, and because I'm a student of theology and philosophy, I've always wondered about the three wise men from the East that came to the christening and brought the gifts, and also the lost years of Jesus Christ and the tradition of Krishna, and even through the scriptures, how Jesus said, I've been here before. And then looking at the Dalai Lama and the reincarnative process and all these things that are pre-Abrahamic, if you will. Even what was that post you put about I think it was Ghana or whatever country.
Oh yeah, for Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yeah, the Ubuntu.
Not Linux, but Ubuntu.
Not the Linux Ubuntu, spelt the same, different meaning. Anyway, I digress, and I know you have to get going. I think we have 2 minutes to give you 5-minute prep time for your meeting at least. So I'm trying to channel a good wrap up, but I can't. So maybe I'll allow Rasputin to come. He says, I do not care if there is war or abundance. Let the peace be within, and let that peace that is within emanate through the universe, and also have a piece of pie. Pie is very good.
You're so good. My kids would love you. They would love you. They love doing accents. They would love you. Yes, I think that's a good wrap up for this. Let's connect on the side. Let's set up a time for us to go deeper on the creator's guide. Because what Jackie said, who's in there now, she said it's great content. She said it was really useful. She really liked it a lot. So let's next week I have a really crazy week because I'm involved in a conference, but the week after I'll have free time, and so we'll be able to connect and think about images, what additional content we want, stuff like that.
Yeah, shoot me a text, and if it's all too hectic and you're stressed, shoot me a call. I'll channel my favorite guy, Lomo Doma Ding Dong. I come for you to help, and I have dot on forehead, if you can see, Lama Dama Ding Dong. I have a very, very PG-13 joke associated with that. But this is also one of the people I channel.
You're
Dr.
awesome.
Wong, my Chinese medicine guy, all this fun stuff.
It's terrific. Oh, I love talking to you. I always feel like lighter after talking to you. You're so intelligent, you're funny, you bring the humor. You're enjoyable. I appreciate it.
1 minute past your duty to be eating. We'll put my hair up this way.
Yep. And that's amazing too. I'll be sad when you cut it off because I love Aaron with the hair.
Oh, you haven't met bald guy Aaron yet?
No, I only saw the one photo that you posted when you had short hair.
No, absolutely. I'm going to shave it all the way down.
Oh, okay.
You have to donate to the cause, or you will not get access to the pictures.
Yeah,
of me
I will.
Completely shaved, completely bald-headed.
Wow.
Yes, this is the whole promotion for the whole until my birthday.
Yes.
It's donate to the cause. What's the cause? Well, I got medical bills. I got to get a sandwich. I got to buy a truck, but at least half of it's going to go to the needy of the earth. Feeding the hungry, the homeless, and a lot of cross promotion, a lot of cross pollinating with some of the other movements that I'm involved with.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fire. One real quick thing.
Yeah.
I like the hair on fire. It's my new favorite thing.
Aaron, I think you need to find something else to do with your time.
Hey, look at how trimmed it looks now.
It is very trimmed, actually.
It's nice and even. As long as there's no scissors involved. I was going to do a little machete chop. Who wants to be part and see the machete chop? Chop. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Donate to the cause. Only find me here at find me directly. I'll have some promos and some backlinks out there.
Cool. I love it. You have to make an event. You have to make events leading up to it so people can like.
Oh, very few. It's going to be very private and exclusive. I don't know if that's within the network to file for those events. They have to put the money up front. I put a lot of energy and time into this presentation, into this ceremony.
Yeah.
And unless you can do some work for our cause, I mean, the energy exchange through the monetary system is the only way I know to allow this process to unfold.
Well, let's connect with Nisha, because she would be the one who, I don't do any of the marketing at all. That's all her. So we should talk to her and see if there's a way that, if there's any kind of promotion that we could do for this.
Awesome. You are running late for your other meeting in 3 minutes. I must advise you it's time to go under protocol 34. Blah, blah,
Right.
blah, beep, 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 dot, dot, dot. Time is of essence.
All right.
Time does not exist. Da, 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 da. I love you, Pallas. You're just so awesome.
Thank you. Love you too. You're awesome too. We'll talk later. Okay. See you later.